Okay, Craig, Tom Kennedy, who you and I both were watching. We did a video on this. Will he make it? Will he not? It looks like he's not going to make it. Looks like he's going to
Right.
be released. We got an article here from Pride of Detroit. Make sure you check them out. They do a great job. But it is being reported that Tom Kennedy is not going to make the team. What are your initial thoughts now that it's kind of official?
Yeah. So, two initial thoughts. One is this is what we thought would happen. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, maybe we're not as dumb as we think. But at the same time, this is one of those where you just, I feel like no matter what happened, you'd feel bad about it because Tom Kennedy is kind of one of those guys. It's easy for him to get into your heart. It's easy to love, you know, and you want to root for a guy like Tom Kennedy because he's a guy who just isn't as athletic, but he finds a way to get the
Yeah.
job done. And we've been able to watch him a lot. I think that's the other thing is the more you watch someone, the more he has success, the more you like him. So no matter what, this was going to be hard. It was going to be hard if he got cut because you like Tom Kennedy, but it was also going to be hard if he made the team because you're like, I think we could have done better with that spot too. I don't know. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, you nailed it. It's like if Tom Kennedy makes your team, you're a little you're maybe not as good at that position at wide receiver that you should
Right.
be because
Mhm.
he is a man. You can't argue with the fact the guy gets open, he catches the ball. He's
Yep.
right here he scored. I don't know, he scored 2 touchdowns in game 2. So you're like, all right, like
Yep.
wait a second, but right here, after a didn't do anything in game 3 thanks to the backup quarterbacks and this no help at
Yeah.
all. And then
No wide receivers were able to get a good grade in
oh,
that third game. None.
no rhythm, no nothing. So he really struggled. And then we just said the final thing when you're a bubble guy is special teams, and when you don't have special teams, it's just like you got to be a great wide receiver, and
Yeah.
he's going to be our fifth guy behind Khalif Raymond, and then St. Brown is that kind of slot guy. It's just tough. He's just not going to make it.
Yeah, and there's just not a spot, and it's kind of what we were saying before. And I think like he does a good job when he gets on the field, but he has never produced against number one
That's right.
a number one opponent at like a first team. And he's never even gotten the opportunity because I'm sure like I was saying this when we were doing the live stream of the preseason game. These guys have a 5-week training camp to be evaluated on, and we're watching 3 games
Hmm.
and we're watching Tom Kennedy play 60, 70 snaps, but they're watching Tom Kennedy play 6 or 700 and like go through drills and like and all these different things that might be elevated. It was just for ease of numbers. But like you think the Lions haven't had Tom Kennedy repping against the number ones against their own DBs?
Right.
Like, of course they've seen that. And they
Yep.
get to see if he can create that separation, if he can make catches over them, if he can do the adjustments and things like that. And my guess is that he just wasn't getting it done at that level. So if he's not going to be a guy who can get it done at the level where you're playing against starters, why keep him if he's not going to be a better special teams player either?
And when we watched that last preseason game against the Steelers and they had some of
Mhm.
their starters in, you're like, okay, just a reminder to everybody, the ones are ones for a reason.
That's
And
right.
when you see those guys, the Watts on their team, but
Mhm.
it's just like that's a number one deep, that's their ones on defense. And like you said, you're just not gonna be able to get open as well. And there's things in
Yeah.
practice that you're seeing that's like, man, this guy, though he makes plays on camera when we're watching on TV and he's scoring touchdowns, is that gonna translate on Sundays against ones? Where's he gonna fit? It's just not gonna be there.
It's not going to be there. And that was always his knock, anyways, that he doesn't get touchdowns. He doesn't score in the red zone. He's minimally effective because he can't get separation very well. And because he's not going to jump over a guy. And I know what you're thinking. Tom Kennedy's open all the time. Yeah, because Tom Kennedy can read a defense,
Yeah.
which is great. And it is super helpful. And I don't know what happens. What do you think? Here's my question to you. Do you think he'll get picked up by another team, or do you think it's another year of Tom Kennedy on our practice squad? Or do we even want him on the practice squad? Is it like, you know what? We're going to go somewhere else with this. What
I
what are you
would not
thinking?
be shocked one bit if he gets picked up with somebody and if he plays and we see him on TV on Sunday
It's
making
20,
something
30,
happen.
40 catches, something
Yep.
like that.
I would
Yeah.
not be surprised because there's somebody out there. It's like, man, we need a little slot guy. We need a little something. And we don't need that. That's number one problem.
Just don't need it.
We don't need it. But there's definitely a team out there, so he might have a fit. And I think we won't be surprised if he does end up playing well. And that's the thing you and I've said. It's not that he's not a good player. It's just we don't have room for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if somebody else has room for him and he actually gets on the field, plays, and has a good, a decent season.
Absolutely. And you know what's going to probably happen? He's going to get picked up by the Green Bay Packers and he's going to become Aaron Rodgers' favorite slot option. And it's just going to be like, really? And then everybody's going to be like, see, we told you. And then we're going to remind everybody very nicely, yes, he did great. And he got 40 catches in Green Bay. And Amon-Ra St. Brown, the guy who would keep him off the field, just got 90 catches for the Lions. So it's okay. He can't play the outside receiver position. He can't do that. That's not in his skill set. And if he even lines up in the outside, he's going to motion in. That's just the way it's going to go. So that's where I'm at. Like, it's okay. We will say thank you for your service because it was a lot of fun watching you be a preseason hero. And even it was fun watching you get in the regular season last year. But it's a different team with a different wide receiver room. Tom Kennedy, we thank you for all you've done for the Detroit Lions. You will be missed.
And with that, we will see all of you on the next video. We leave on a somber note, but we leave encouraged that
we're good enough not to keep him.
Exactly. Our wide receiver room is good. So appreciate everyone for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we will see all of you on the next one.